I think it's pretty safe to say it's been a good year for VR and PSVR2 as a whole. I've enjoyed pretty much every title that's come out to some degree this year, even the ones that I panned a little bit, like Dreams of Another had some cool elements in there, but for the most part, most games have been absolute bangers to some degree. But the year isn't over yet, and even though we've just got 2.5 months left, there's still a bunch of games coming out this year on PSVR2 that you should be excited about. So let's get into this after thanking our patrons and members, and you subscribe to the channel of course if you feel so inclined. For our first game on this list, you're actually not looking too far into the future for its release because it comes out tomorrow. This is Reach, nDreams Elevation's AAA VR campaign game. You take on the role of Rosa, somebody who's plunged into an underground city full of mystery, wonder and living statues that want to kill you. Acquire different upgrades as you progress through the story, trying to fight for your life and save humanity from these creatures. I can confirm I've completed the game. Of course the embargo isn't today, otherwise you'd be seeing my coverage of it, so that probably gives you an indication of when it's going to be up. But what I can say is that I really enjoyed the demo that I played back in London last month. The movement was tons of fun and the visuals were genuinely stunning, so I'm really looking forward to the full game launching tomorrow on PSVR2. Now I've got to be careful when mentioning this next game because some people do get very annoyed whenever I bring it up. This is Aces of Thunder, and I know we've been through the ringer with this one over and over again. This is the air combat flight sim by the War Thunder devs, taking place in World War I and World War II, with both single player campaign missions and online PvP, with a flat port coming later, meaning that hopefully the servers will never dry up. Aces of Thunder is a bit of a rough one. Of course, we've been waiting for it for years and years now, and it was slated on the PS Store to come out in September. Didn't happen, they confirmed it was an error, and then we got one more release date, which was October 28th. Now, of course, we haven't got there yet, so we don't know if that is going to be the release date, but as we get closer and closer with no announcement, it's beginning to look like it might not be. That being said, I still am confident that it will come out at some point this year. Whether that's November or December, I'm not sure, but I think it will. Hopefully this game that runs 90Hz unreprojected in the headset with tons of little VRAF features like opening the cockpit and pressing all the buttons turns out to be a good one and doesn't leave us waiting there sad for Flight Sim next year. Trenches VR is coming over to PSVR2 as well. This is by a solo dev, October 22nd I believe the release date is, and it puts you in the trenches of World War I surviving against some horrendous creatures, with your 1911 and your knife to defend yourself with. I haven't played the Next Fest demo that came out of this, and I also haven't played the flat game. I want to go into the PSVR2 port completely blind, just so that I can kind of take everything in for the first time and have no sort of expectations. This is the only spooky game that's coming out around Halloween though, so I think it fits to be coming out October 22nd. The remastered version of Zero Caliber is also coming out at some point either this month or next month I think. They're trying to get through QA at the moment. This is a Call of Duty style shooter with single player and co-op, which essentially allows you to go through a full COD style campaign with tons of different weapons, set pieces to blast through, and overall I really enjoyed it. It was one of the first PCVR games that I covered on the channel, but that was the original edition, whereas this is the remaster, so I think it'll look a lot nicer on PSVR2. Of course, we also have Thief VR. We played this one back in London last month as well. I enjoyed my time on with it. I felt that it needed a bit more polish, and hopefully it's a later release in the year so they get that polish. I could see this one, if they needed the time, being pushed back to 2026, but of course, I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes with it. I just know what I've played, and what I played was good, but needed, a couple more passes to really get up to where it would be ready for release in my opinion. Thief VR promises to put you in the Thief universe, but actually through your own eyes, playing as Magpie and exploring this world through various missions and stealing important artifacts, using all the tools and distractions at your disposal to take out the guards and complete your mission successfully. Hopefully it will still come out this year. One thing you shouldn't be looking forward to though is the possibility of scratching your PSVR2 lenses. There is no worse feeling, believe me, I've done it. But I never will do it again because of VR Rock, the sponsor of today's video. If you want prescription or non-prescription PSVR2 lenses with anti-blue light or anti-glare filter options, and magnetic and non-magnetic options, then these guys are for you. I never have to worry about scratching my PSVR2 lenses ever again or having to wear glasses if I ever need them, because the VR Rock prescription lenses are easy to install and they've not come off my headset since I put them in. Don't risk scratching your headset and pick them up with my affiliate link in the description below. Thank you to VR Rock for sponsoring this video, and let's get back on with it, shall we? Now we know November is packed for PSVR2 as well, and the first game there for me that I'm excited for is Of Lies and Rain. This dystopian PSVR2 game that's kind of Matrix meets Half-Life Alyx-like, looks stunning in its PSVR2 demo last month, or the month before that. Time is weird, I can't remember. And we were waiting on that full game release date because it's come out on other platforms. That finally came around and we're getting it in November. Hopefully review keys come out a bit before so I can get a full review out for you guys. But I'm really looking forward to this one. The demo had a couple of bugs that I ran into, but on the whole, it was a great experience. Of course, we've got wingsuiting game Rush VR as well. This is the enhanced edition by the Binary Mill, and if it's the Binary Mill, we know it's going to be a great port. This is a PSVR1 game that was highly requested to be brought over to PSVR2, and they've actually just gone and done it. So many studios we request PSVR1 games get ported, and they just don't really listen, they don't really do it, but the Binary Mill are just a different breed of studio, man. They knew what we wanted, and they brought it over. I've never played it on PSVR1, so I'm really excited to wingsuit with my PSVR2 headset, hopefully with those head haptics going off, and we'll see if this game stands the test of time. A bit of a simpler game to describe will be Pools VR. That is coming also in November, and it's a PSVR2 game where you go through the back rooms, but the pool rooms, which are the back rooms but with water in them. It's very liminal space-like, there are no enemies, it's purely just an atmospheric experience, and if you like that sort of thing, you're going to be in for a treat. If you don't, you're probably going to be bored out of your mind. Hopefully it looks great on PSVR2 though, because a game like this needs to have strong visuals, otherwise it doesn't really have anything going for it. Looking forward to this one though, as I do like this liminal space vibe. VR classic Richie's Plank Experience is making its way over to PSVR2 this year as well, tasking you to walk the plank on a skyscraper and test your vertigo. That's not all though, you can also fly around the city undertaking challenges and taking in the sights with hand jetpack style devices. And this is one that you'll see in a lot of older VR clips, so if you want a game to show off to your friends and family to impress them and wow them with VR, Richie's Plank Experience might be the one to do so. For everybody who's missing Wipeout on PSVR2, Omega Pilot Evolution might be the one to fill that void. I believe this is by the Exocars devs, and it's an exciting first-person tense high-speed racer. Looks very Wipeout-like. There are 33 different tracks with asynchronous multiplayer, 26 ship designs, tons of gloves to use, and also real-time multiplayer available too. There's regular tournaments with prizes and constant updates according to the devs. I enjoyed Exocars, so I'm looking forward to this one. Hopefully it handles just like the old Wipeout games did. We also don't have a release date for Ghost Town, but it is still slated, I believe, for 2025. This launched to thunderous applause on other platforms, and is a puzzle adventure game. The devs made The Room a while ago, but this is a game where you're a ghost hunter in 1980s London, focused on tense atmosphere and suspense. It's already available on Quest and Steam, I believe though, as I said, but PSVR2 is still planned, and this one has just been gushed over the last couple of months since its launch, so I'm super excited to see what all the fuss is about. And finally, Roboquest is still slated for 2025. This is the flat to VR port of the flat screen game with full co-op support, tons of weapons with immersive reloads, incredible movement systems, and a lot of enemies to fight. Roboquest looked kinetic on the flat screen, but I've held off on playing it just because I want to go into the VR mode with completely fresh eyes to see how it is. Flat to VR have done a great job with their ports so far, including Trombone Champ and Surviving Mars, which I think they've published and not developed. And if this port is on the quality of those two, then I think, in my opinion, they'll have cemented themselves alongside the greats like Vertigo and Perp Games as publishers and devs on PSVR2. Anyway, that'll be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're excited for in the comments below. Is there anything that I've missed? I'm sure there is. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.